Good morning. And I co-sign the way someone is saying it. Good morning, beautiful queens. Welcome. Welcome to the community where we're over here being better together, better with God, and connecting with one another. And Swan, I see you on here early this morning. I don't know if you heard us last Thursday or Friday, honey, when I acknowledged it. Your book came back to me, girl, and I knew you hadn't read it already and sent it back. So we'll confirm that address. I meant to do that over the weekend, but it's good to see you here live with us on this morning. I know you've been working quite a bit. So I'm glad you were able to jump in on this morning and get a bit of the love and the hugs from the community. So on that note, if everybody will just lean on the love button and give everybody some type of hug or love signal on this morning, particularly as we enter May, y'all. That's normally like Women's Month. Mother's Day is this month. So in advance, happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers who desire to be mothers. You are a mother, all the godmothers, spiritual mothers, and the like, those who are believing to be a physical, natural mother. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day to our women who are walking in that role even right now. And then just welcome to the community. Really is a place where we are better together. I'm just honored that we would continue to journey together, that we would continue to fulfill our commitment of like, let's just hang out for at least 1 year and give ourselves time for our minds and our thoughts to be transformed and watch God transform our lives. When we are transformed, let me correct that. As we are transformed according to that established plan that God already has for us, we then take on the power to transform our own lives. Somebody say it with me. I have the power. I have the power to transform my life through Him. So welcome to the community. We're going to go to day number 23, and we'll talk a bit about Queen Elizabeth of France. I want to set just the platform for that. The title for that on this morning, Teresa, was perfect for me. It says, My core is settled. I breathe all of that in. My core is settled. My core, the center of me is settled. I know for me in particular, just professionally, it's a very busy, busy day. On today, I have the honor and the privilege of working with a fund. And today we'll do some major announcements as it relates to the millions of dollars that we will be implementing and executing through our communities of color. And that's a tremendous work and an amazing opportunity to be a part of. And I'm excited about what will happen later today. It is also the week that I'm finishing up some core classes as it relates to the programming that you all by now know that I'm a part of. And I just say all of that to say, as I was processing through my day, I became very grateful that my core is settled, that I understand where my help comes from. And so I invite each of you, as you're processing your day, as you're getting ready to face this day, as you're getting ready to face this week, as you're getting ready to face this month, that we remind ourselves that our core, it's settled. We understand where our help comes from. Anybody there? You understand where your help comes from. I already come against anything that attempts to step into this day to rattle you, to throw your emotions off, to pull you into anxiety or worry or anxiousness or depression or concern. Those things that come to startle our spirits. Do you hear that? Those things that come to startle our spirits. We already Tap into this awareness that God is with us. Somebody say, He's my help. He's my very present help in the time of need. He is my help. And so we step by faith into that awareness. I made the analogy and just chatting this up for a bit with Jen behind the scenes that it is this awareness that if you've ever had a meeting schedule, I see somebody and I come in full agreement with that. I speak calm. I speak calm into my own situations. I see you all saying, He is my help. If you've ever had an arrangement with someone to meet them in a particular place, or you've ever had like a date or whatever that is, and you may get the phone call from the person that says, I'm running late or I'm running behind, or I've been the person to call and say, I'm running late or I'm running behind. Some of us have even experienced where people have gone through the no shows and the person didn't show up. Isn't it beautiful, though, to think about our good daddy God? How gracious He is towards us, that before our feet even hit the floor, before our eyes even awakened in this day, you think about it, Daddy God was already here. Daddy God had already got up and got into this day before you and I even woke up on this side of the day with breath in our lungs. I say that to say that He is not a God who's going to stand us up today. He's not a God who's going to be a no show. He is not a God who is running late. He is not a God who's calling in because He's behind schedule. God is so on schedule. He's ahead of schedule. Schedule exists in Him. God is so in this day that He created this day. God is so sure about your steps that He's already ordered them. So we can take full confidence in knowing that He's the God who is here. Somebody get that on this morning. He's the God that is already here, who has already gone before us. By faith, we receive that He's already making our crooked path straight, that He's already being a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. That's His word, that He has already given His angels charge over us to protect us so that we won't even dash our foot against the stone. So we get up on this May 1st, a brand new month, a brand new week, this fresh Monday, and we face it like we know that God is with us. We overcome it like we know God is with us. We travel through it like we know God is with us. Somebody say it, God is with us. God is with me. So whatever anybody is facing, that's what's sitting heavy in my spirit on today. Whatever decisions that anybody has to face, whatever decisions that anybody has to make, whether it's health issues or financial issues or location issues or family issues or promotion or employment issues, whatever decisions and issues that anybody has to face, God is here, y'all. God is with us. God is with us. And He don't play about y'all. So welcome again to just a brand new month. May we receive everything that God has already strategically placed throughout this month that will add value to our lives. This other thought that was circulating in my head on this morning, anytime I'm going to come on and teach, I know the designated queen that we're supposed to talk about, but I still ask God, so is there something particular though that you have for your daughters on today? And I'll just share from this quick space. I got a no to something that I applied for. I got to know to something that I applied for. And that no rested in my spirit from a place of peace. Y'all hear me on this morning? I got a no for something that I actually applied for. So normally when we apply for something, we're hoping to get that. We're hoping to be a recipient of that. But I applied simply by faith. I've been telling God, for these big dreams that you have in my head, I'm going to go down any road that seems to be an option, but I'm going to trust your yeses and I'm going to trust your nos. This is somebody saying, Good morning, Dr. Gena. Good morning. I'm going to trust your yeses and I'm going to trust your nos. Somebody needs to receive that in your spirit on this morning. I'm going to trust your open doors and I'm going to trust your closed doors. He's a God of the open door and He's a God of the closed door. He's a God of the yes and He's a God of the no. But this I understand. All things are working together for my good. All things are working together for my good. There was a day in my less mature years, like by last week sometime, But in my less mature moments, when things didn't go my way, or when it was a no, or when it appeared to be a closed door, I would become a bit frustrated or jaded or even disappointed in God about that. But I've grown up. Anybody else out there who says I've grown up? I can look back over some things now, and I can flat footed say to you 100% that there is not a no or a closed door that the Lord has ever placed in my life, that when I got to the other side of it and I understood and saw some things that I didn't understand and saw, that I have not been grateful. There is not a no, there is not a closed door that the Lord has ever allowed to happen in my life, that when I got to the other side of it and saw bigger picture or saw more details about it, that I didn't say, God, thank you. I've bumped into some folk that I've dated, and honey, the Lord knows that it is my desire to be married, but I've bumped into some folk and I say, God, I thank you. I've gone back and saw some things that have happened in some districts where I used to want to serve in administration and those doors were closed. And I'm like, God, I thank you. Anybody can agree with that? There are some decisions that I would have made. And when I got to the other side of it, I couldn't help but say, Lord, thank you for being a keeper and a protector. Thank you that you didn't allow me to go down that struggle or have that heartache. And so for somebody today, I see y'all saying, yes, true story, fully agree. I want to drop that into your spirit as well. I want to encourage you that if a door was just closed, if a no was just issued, if something didn't work out like you planned, continue to honor the God of the open door and the God of the closed door. Be in faith. I see Yolanda saying amen. Be in faith. I see Jen saying thank you for the no. Be in faith. Mature in faith. I see Cherie saying, Lord, I thank you for that no. Be in faith. You see women co-signing and encouraging you and affirming to you that knows work together for your good as well. So the Lord had that on my heart this morning to just let someone remind someone, yes, Teresa, that is the right posture, that I trust you. That I trust you, that I'm here to obey you, not you obey me. You're not obligated to give me everything that I ask for. You're not obligated to work it out exactly how I planned. I got to trust you. I got to really believe that you are working all things together for my good. Work it out, God. Somebody say that with me. Then go on and work it out, God. Work it out, y'all. These are those mature level conversations. This is when I continue to say, mature woman, rise. Kingdom citizen, rise. We do you all a disservice when we're teachers, when we're leaders, when we're pastors, when we're small group organizers, whatever capacity in which we lead within ministry, and we continue to put a cadence and a vibe out there that causes people to think that by faith we can ask God anything and he's obligated to do it, or by faith, if I touch the altar, if I put a seed on it, if I turn around 3 times, if I anoint myself, that God is somehow obligated to work out everything according to the way that I desired. I love you too much to pretend that that is the truth. That is not the truth. That is not how this thing works. God is a God of a yes and a no. God is a God of an open door and a closed door. God is a God of speaking and of silence. God is a God of open heavens and of correction. He's the God of both. Kingdom citizen, arise. Mature woman, arise. Let's grow in God. So this week, for whoever that is for, if something is not doing like it's doing, trust God. Stay in that space of keeping your eyes fixed on him, trusting in his promises. Your core is settled. Your core is settled. Your core is settled. Somebody say that with me, Bobby. Our core is settled. That means you can't make me doubt him. You hear me? I know too much about him. You can't make me doubt him. I know. Like, I know too much about me. That's when you start speaking to yourself, when those thoughts are trying to be loud in your head, that God is not going to do it for you, that it's not going to work out for you, that the promises are not yes and amen for you. That's when you talk back even to yourself. And sometimes you have to tell yourself, no, girl, you are not anxious. No, girl, you're not going to cut up and play brand new with God. No, girl, you're not about to sink into depression. No, girl, you're not about to act like you don't know better. Even Gena, you can't make me doubt him. You you know too much about him. That's when you have to encourage and talk to yourself. For some of us, it is time out for having that same old narrative about our anxiety and that same old narrative about our depression and that same old narrative about suicidal thoughts. God has been too faithful. His track record is too sure for you to still have that same level of wavering, that same level of doubt, that same level of backtracking, that same level of needing somebody to pull you out and be encouraged. I don't know why this is coming. This is from the Lord. It is time out for that narrative. God has been too faithful. God has been too dependable. God has been too loyal. He's been too trustworthy for us to still need the same measure of encouragement to stay fixed, to stay focused, to keep pushing, to keep pressing. At some point, you talk to yourself and you tell your own self, girl, grow up. Get it together. Mature woman, rise. Kingdom citizen, rise. God's track record is too stable for you to still need that same balance of, come on, honey, he gonna do it. Don't give up on yourself. Don't back down. Don't quit. At some point, we make a conscious decision to fix our eyes on him, to be focused on him, to believe what his word has said, to allow it to be settled in our souls. And we get up and we go after who he has created us to be, because he who has promised is faithful. I see y'all saying, girl, grow up. Grow up. You got to talk to yourself. I'm not saying this to y'all. I'm saying this to me. There are moments and as many times as I have gotten up to speak and to teach. And today I already know in that professional arena over there, easily it'll be 250, 275, 300 people. But on this morning, I don't allow myself to start backtracking like, oh, what if I'm going to forget my words? What if I'm not going to know what to say? What if I'm going to be too nervous to speak? What if don't nobody come? What if don't nobody show up? What if I can't get my words together? Girl, grow up already. Get it together already. You've been on platforms over and over and over again, and God has always held your hand. He's always given you the words to say. He's always brought the audience. He's always given you your opportunity. This is going to be another great one, just like the last one. I don't need to prime you up this morning and warm you up. Get on up and do and be who I've called you to be. Mature woman, rise. So y'all, I'm talking to all of us. I see you saying, Jen, he has never failed. Come on, y'all. He has never. We press into this month. As we press, let me do this. As we press into this day, as we press into this week, as we press into this month, y'all, I stand very present. One, that May is the 5th month. So we're going by grace, right? But I'm also living very present to y'all understand this, that June is next month. We will be at the half year mark. Are you really running after who God has called you to be? Are you really pursuing being the established her that he designated and knew before he even formed you in your mother's womb? Are you betting on yourself? Are you giving yourself a fair chance? Are you going to be at the halfway mark of this year and there is no difference in the steps that you've taken in January as it relates or compares to what you're doing in June, y'all? We love one another enough to continue to tell each of us that it is our time. It's not just Gena's time. It's not just Teresa's time or Jackie's time or Sarah Jake Roberts' time or some Christine Kane time or Priscilla Shire's time or whoever you watch and admire and clap for and all of this good stuff. It is your time. It is your time. It is time for each of us to become mature in what God has called us to do. I'm not saying that it's your time to teach like Gena teaches, but I'm not over here trying to bake like Bobby bakes, and I'm not over here trying to cook like Sharice cooks. When each of us gets in our lane and we really declare that it is my time and I'm going to figure out how to take a step and get one moment closer to He established me to be. No excuses. I don't need a whole lot of people to pump me up. God has been faithful and true and good enough to me for my core to be settled. I will not be moved. My eyes are fixed on him. My promises are yes and amen. My core is settled. My core is settled. Now release yourselves by grace from comparing what you are called to do to what someone else is called to do. I continue to remind us of that. Some of us may have public platforms. Other people are supposed to be the reconciler of peace in your family lines. Someone else is supposed to take on one person and escort them through discipleship. Another person is called to build a prayer wall and be committed to staying on the wall and praying. Someone else is supposed to write a book. Someone else is supposed to sing. Someone else is supposed to lead a small group. And that small group really may be 2 or 3 women. Other people are supposed to replicate the community and begin to do your gathering activities for women, whether it's virtual or in person. Other people are called to sow into the kingdom, to support visions and what God has assigned. Like each of us has a role. And so we're not comparing roles or making some big or some small. We're all the body of Christ. We're all the kingdom. We all have something to do. But here is the point. We all have something to do. And what you have to do is valuable, but you got to keep your eyes fixed on him so that the external noises and sometimes the internal mental noises don't talk you out of who God has created you to be. Somebody say it with me. My core is settled. My core is settled. My core is settled. Y'all, there are souls, I'm back here, with your names attached to them. There are people that you are called to meet. There are people that you are called to lift. There are women that you are called to hug. There are suicidal young women that you are called to rescue. There's somebody on the verge that you're supposed to snatch back. There are souls with your name on it. You're valuable beyond comparison. There's something God has created you to do that only you can do. You're a star. We're all stars. There's always been a crown attached to your head, and we keep stepping by faith into that, y'all. We keep stepping by faith into this awareness. Thy kingdom come, your will be done on earth through me. Your kingdom come, oh God, your will be done on earth through me. Somebody say, y'all know how to say, put me in, God. Put me into the game. Let me play the game. Let me be a part of your winning team. God has his hands on your life, y'all. God has his hands on your life, Yolanda. God has laid his hands on your life. There's something that you're called to do. And that's where he's leading me this morning. Y'all know we're going to talk about Elizabeth. We're going to talk about how she married a husband. He took her into another land, had a different castle, a different culture, a different people. They engaged in activities that were foreign to her. And in the end of the story, it talks about how she found her own hobbies and pulled away to talk to her own God. Why? Because her core was settled, because she knew who she was, because she wasn't wavering and doubting about the God who had created her. She had a legacy and a history and a track record with God. She had a legacy and a history and a track record with God. And so when this king takes her into a different culture, engages in different types of activities, they would often say, oh, the queen is absent. The queen wasn't absent. The queen was present in the world that belongs to her. Y'all catch that? For many people, when you're not around, when you're not engaging in certain things, their narrative about you is that that you're absent. Yolanda's absent from the party. Deborah's absent from the conversation. Charlotte's not at the table. Gayla's nowhere to be found. Sarah's not here. That's their narrative of the story from their lens that you're missing. But this is what I have become comfortable with as I streamline giving my energy and my effort to the things that God has called me to do. I'm okay with you calling the roll on your agenda and I don't answer. Because in your eyes and through your lens, I'm absent. But through Gena's eyes and through Gena's lens, I'm present. My energy is present in my purpose. My focus is present in my purpose. My resources are present in my purpose. My effort is present in my purpose. My focus is present in my purpose. And what I've grown to understand prior years and trying to figure me out and where I was going, I would be halfway over here and halfway over there. In fact, if I were to be really honest, my own dreams and my own visions were often getting left over me. By the time I got through running around trying to be present and trying to be a yes person and forever available to other people's needs and agendas and projects and visions and goals, by the time I got through piecing out myself and all of that stuff, trying to make sure that you understood that you really did have my support, almost being broke, trying to buy everything that came out so that nobody would be slighted and feel like I wasn't supporting them. By the time I got through doing all of that, Gena's visions got left over Gena. And somewhere in there, Yolanda, I just made up my mind that I'd be doggone. And I really do mean I'd be doggone if I got to give my one life left over me, if I got to give my life left over finances and left over time and left over energy. So I started, listen, doing what the Bible says. I started esteeming myself, like the scripture says, that God is not a respecter of person. Somehow that registered for me that what God has created for me to do, it ain't left over. It's not backdrop. His hand is laid on my life. His hand is laid on your life. And when you really begin, I see you, Bobby, saying, I be doggone. And when you really begin to understand that what God has put in you, it is valuable, that it's not secondary to me. Listen, I'm talking about me too. What God has put in you is just as valuable as what he me. It may look different, it may be expressed different, it may be executed different, but God cares as much about the one or the two or the 30,000 that you are assigned to. He cares just as much about you and those souls as he cares about me and the souls that I am attached to. God is not in a hierarchy. Yes, God gives roles, he gives positions, he gives titles, us to understand how we are to function. And I'm going to wrap this up. Listen, I am someone who carries a ministerial license. I'm someone who has carried the title of pastor and elder and minister. I'm someone who literally carries 5 whole degrees. Do y'all hear me? So I'm not saying this from a place of somebody who's just saying that because she ain't got none. I'm not saying this from a place of jealousy. I'm not saying this from a place of, since I don't have them, I don't honor them. I got all of those. And I still understand it. In the same way that we call a stove, so that when you hear the word stove, you understand the functionality of that piece of equipment. Are you following me? When we give the stove the title of stove, it is so that when we all are communicating and I say stove, y'all already know that if you want your eggs to stay fresh and your milk to stay cool, you're not going to go and put it in the stove, because stove, the title stove, the name stove carries a certain meaning and it gives clarity to that, to the role of that piece of equipment. But when I say refrigerator, then you understand, okay, that's probably where I need to sit the ice cream, and that's where I need to put the milk, and that's where I need to put the eggs, because the title or the name refrigerator gives clarity to the role. Are we following? But it was never intended for the stove and the refrigerator to start competing and establishing hierarchies and trying to determine who is most important. We need you are essential to this kitchen being complete. I need the eggs to sit inside of the refrigerator. I need the milk to stay inside of the refrigerator so that it can function properly, so that when I turn on this stove to bake the cake, then this stuff over here is not spoiled or rotten. But it was never the intention for any of that to begin to have hierarchy conversations and who matters most and who, all of that stuff. In God's eyes, we are that. We are the kitchen utensils that are supposed to be cooking up something that is so attractive that it draws the world. I'm not in here swinging at Sharice and fighting Sarah over who's the most important. All of this stuff is indicative of trying to walk in our roles and be in some sense of clarity so that we know how to function. But all of us are valuable. Every single one of us matter to God. Every single one of us have an assignment. And when we become more clear about that, y'all, when we become more clear about that, we move differently. Because this is what I've grown to understand. Whether y'all call me Pastor Gena, Elder Gena, Minister Gena, Dr. Gena, or a combination of all of them at one time, I now know who Gena is. And I'm not lost. I'm the same as when my niece Maya jokingly says, Dr. Gena Jerk, she calls me. And other days she says, Ain't Gigi. And on both of those names, I'm Gena because I know who I am. One does not get a different response because I'm trying to figure out who I am based on how somebody regards me or refers to me. My core is settled. I fix my eyes on him. I've become more clear about who he's called me to be. And I'm standing in that from this day forward, from those days forward, standing in that so that I don't get wavered. Y'all, I'm going to be very honest. You can clap for me today and not ever tune in again tomorrow. And I'm still going to show up to teach because I'm called to teach. Who claps or who disappears. My eyes are fixed on him. And I made a commitment to him that if you help me, Daddy God, I'm going to get up every day, Monday through Thursday, and I'm going to show up to teach. And I'm going to do it, Barbie, when you're here, and I'm going to do it when you're absent. I'm going to do it, Lori, when you push a like, and I'm going to do it when there's no response because I know who I'm called to be. And I'm not picking on Bobby and Lori, and they know that. Y'all, we got to become settled so that we're not moved. We got to be faithful over little, Yolanda. We got to take 2 clients and work them like we got a retainer waiting list. We got to become so fixed and settled and who God has called us to be and not allow the external noises nor the internal noises to deter us from who he has created us to be. We wrapped up. Everybody say with me, my core is settled. My core is settled. And I'm talking hard to you all today. Listen, y'all, because literally next month, in about 30 days, we will be halfway through the year. Halfway through the year. And I'm rooting y'all. I'm pulling for y'all. I'm challenging and pushing y'all to really embrace that God sees you as somebody pretty important, that God is betting on you, and that souls are attached to you being who God created you to be. Somebody say with me, we don't even have time to waste. We don't have time to waste. We will literally be at the half-year point. At the half-year point. Mature woman, rise. Kingdom citizen, rise. Let's do the dang thing. Let's be. Let's walk in it. Let's become so settled, y'all. And I'm not saying every once in a while we don't need to huddle up and hug up and chest bump and high five and encourage one another. But at some point, you don't need that measure every single day. You don't need that pep talk. At some point, you just tell yourself, girl, grow up. Get it together. You have been letting that, whatever that is, stop you for the last 30 years, 5 years. Come on, sis. Get it together. Let's go. Let's be. If I got to hobble to it, if I got to take that struggle with me to it, if I got to still doubt, but I'm going to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's be who God has created us to be. Now, y'all pray for me. Look, after all of that, And y'all pray for me today, okay? Y'all gonna probably see me on the news stations and this kind of stuff, y'all, because God has opened those type of doors in my life, and I'm grateful for it. So y'all pray for me, and don't be trash talking out to my that she said, "Gonna go." I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I promise y'all, I'm gonna go. But y'all pray for me so that it's successful. All right. And I'm cheering for y'all. I hope y'all hear my heart. Because I tell y'all all the time, it's not enough. It don't do me for me to win and y'all not winning. Let's go. We all gonna win. We all in this together. All right. We're gonna be who God called us to be. All right. So with that being said, we'll be right back here tomorrow at 6 a.m. As a put it on your radar. May 6th is this Saturday. I'll see y'all over there at the Church Without Walls, the Queenston campus. I'll be looking for y'all. Okay. I'm praying that you will be there, rooting, engaging, being a part of it. As always, sincerely. I know I was talking hard, but as always, sincerely, I mean, really, I really do, because I believe in you. I honor the greatness that is on the inside of you. Y'all take care. See you later.